All right, guys. Welcome to the latest episode of The Altar, where we're doing a little video. But anyone, obviously, the podcast listeners won't see it, but I'll upload it on YouTube in 15 days when it uploads from my computer. I'm joined with Yimra and Ben once again, and a special guest, Sky Angel. I'm going to call you Sky Angel because you're beautiful, but we don't have your face, so it's fine. Say something beautiful. Say something good, Sky.
Thank you. That's wonderful. That's,
okay, and we have
see my angelic face today. Hello, everyone.
I know what you look like, but all right. So because the standard, this is the first time on. Give us your intro. You are an anarchist, right? I never actually asked, but I was pretty sure. Would you clarify yourself? Classify as an anarchist or libertarian or a minarchist?
So I think I would love for you guys to kind of diagnose me. I've always been kind of a classical liberal, more of a libertarian, but I don't know. Sometimes I do have flashes in my brain where I'm just like, do we need centralized government? Do we need authority? I don't know. I'm not sure. So I think that could be a fun point of conversation to say, what the hell is this?
If you can't outright say it, I would just say minarchist. I would just say that you're pretty much right there. If you can't flat out say, like, yeah, I'm an anarchist, then I would just say minarchist if you're pretty much there. If you were about to say, I'm fiscally conservative and socially liberal, it doesn't matter. No, because I would just, well, I guess what I would ask then, it doesn't really matter. But I guess what I'd ask then is, was there any, like your story of how you got to this point? Anything, like a quick couple minutes of like some shit that were like, what the fuck? Go.
So yes. So I would say this, it started with gun rights. Okay. I grew up in the New York area where, I wasn't allowed to defend myself. And I got into situations where, oh boy, gun might have been handy, self-defense might have been handy, and it just wasn't available to me. And when I moved away from the New York area, I started to buy and own guns, and I just realized how important my freedoms, my rights to self-defense was. And I started to become kind of politically awoken and aware. And it got to a point where I just started really questioning kind of what is the government's role in my life, and what do I see them actively trying to do. And as I got kind of deeper and deeper, and not into conspiracy or anything like that, I just realized that every single day my freedoms are in danger from a globalist regime that is really just trying to put everyone in a bottle. And I rail against that. I resist that intensely. And I don't know kind of where my line is. I feel like I'm learning every single day. I don't feel like I have the best political education in the world, but I can tell you who I gravitate towards, and that's people like you guys who are just like, fuck it, this is a terrible system, and we need to try something else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I like
the
comment.
If I were to use the term localist, would you know what that means? Localist.
So, as in, just a community that runs itself. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Kind of, yeah. Like, a lot of people do have kind of followed a similar train of thought. I actually had a very similar kind of like kickoff to you, where it started with gun rights, and it was just a little pebble, and it just kept going and going and going and going and going into everything else in my life, and I just kept applying the same thought process. Does government really need to be involved in this? How about this? No. And as you come more to it, what you realize is that an overarching, like, massive federal government, don't fucking need that at all. But some form of like local voluntary structure that a local community builds for itself in order to support itself is something entirely different, especially when it's not coercive and everybody is, again, doing everything voluntarily, which I think might kind of be where you slide into, because you would like something not like the federal government, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but something a little bit more like like what you do on a daily basis in the politics, if there are anything, have to do with your immediate area and your immediate circumstances. So you don't wake up in the morning and you're not dealing with, oh, California wants to ban anal sex between the hours of 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. like they would ever ban anal sex for everything.
Yimra's mad about
but
that.
Assuming that would be something that would bother
don't even make me
anybody.
It's a scary thought, man.
And you're just waking up in the morning and you're just like, hey, like my roads have potholes in them. Like I really don't care about what California wants to do with their assholes. Like, sorry, it's a little bit of a segue.
Yeah,
but...
no, so you're touching on some things that resonate with me, because when I think about the federal government and kind of working in the financial universe, I just see how unbelievably corrupt and inefficient they are. And for me, that really bothers me, the waste and the graft, and just where the amount that I pay in taxes and how I just get nothing back for that. I mean, I think the stimulus bills are a perfect example of that. They're borrowing $20,000 per citizen to give people back $1,400. And there's no accountability. All the sheep are saying is, why am I not getting $2,000? And it's your question should be, where is the other money going, and where's the accountability? And I think right now, the only way to do it is just to break it all down and kind of rebuild it. But I just, are we too far gone? I don't know. I think we are. I feel like we're too
absolutely
far gone.
too far gone.
I don't know how this gets better.
I mean, hey, maybe.
Because the thing is,
we're accelerations now? Don't answer that. I don't want to be on another watch.
In my opinion, there's.
Do I look like an accelerationist to you?
No, you look handsome.
But it's either secession, right? Like all the states need to just go independent, right? Become their own countries, or branch off like the United States in different sections. Yeah,
I kind of like that idea.
It's either that or it's going to collapse. One of the two things, like if the first thing doesn't happen, the second thing will, and it's just a matter of time. Maybe not in our lifetime, but that's where it's going to go, in my opinion. Like, if history is to teach us anything.
So I actually agree with you on that.
Maybe in my lifetime. Fuck you guys.
So Matt, I don't know, you might be a little bit old enough to remember this. Sky, you too. Do you guys remember the actual collapse of the Soviet Union?
Yes,
okay,
I do.
So
how old do you think I am?
What happened after that was like the Soviet government was basically like, yeah, I have no idea. Sorry. So, oh god, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, Soviet government. When the Soviet government collapsed, they basically like declared like the federal equivalent of the Soviet government that controlled like the USSR and all of the satellite states defunct. So when that happened, all of the satellite states became independent nations again. Ukraine, Estonia, all that shit. So we might see something similar where like the federal government just sort of has this very slow, just like sliding down the fucking like emergency, my brakes are out ramp until it just kind of comes to a stop. And then everything just fucking separates because there's nothing holding it together. But there's not necessarily any bloodshed in the form of like states actually declaring war on the federal government and seceding like the Civil War back in the day.
But don't you see in our system how as soon as somebody comes into the open as a disruptor, they are assimilated into the system. They're taken into the proverbial back room, shown a different angle of the JFK assassination that they've never seen before, and just kind of have to fall in line. I mean, I feel like Obama, right, is a perfect example where this guy was hope and change and got into office and just became a global corporatist instantaneously. I mean, he just flipped the switch right away. You look at AOC. She was a big mouthpiece, and she was sitting there, just talking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to change this. And, she now cares about how many likes she gets on a tweet and just takes zero action. Healthcare for all was supposed to be her big thing. She walked right away from that. the machine takes these people and it body snatches them, and they have, you know, they're toothless afterwards. I just don't. It's running on full steam. I think unless everything kind of collapses, and look, if you look at our financial system, we're close to that. This the, the way that things are going with the printing of money, we could really move towards hyperinflation. There's a million things that could happen with our economy that just burst this bubble, and it doesn't matter who worked for Raytheon and what cabinet position, we're all fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I should not keep investing in stocks, is what you're saying.
I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense anyway. I'll be the first person to tell you that the stock market doesn't make any sense.
Oh no, I don't care about that part.
Yeah.
I just care about the part where it makes me money at some point.
Oh, well, I mean, right now it's the answer is it's going to make you money until it doesn't. At some point, we're going to have a major correction. We're going to have a major turnaround in the markets. Everybody's been trying to call when that's going to happen. Everybody's been trying to call the ceiling. It hasn't happened. And you know, you look at Tesla. They have a valuation that, you know, they couldn't make that money in 1,800 years. They literally could not make the money that they're valued at in the next 1,800 years.
Made profit as a company like twice ever, and they're a shitty electric car company, not even a good electric car company, which don't exist yet, sadly.
They're just all DOE contracts.
I was about to say,
DOJ.
my opinion on electric cars is now going to have to come through fruition because fuck Tesla, bro. Shit sucks.
Sky, with the
electric cars can fuck though.
I think they're valued because of the tech. Yeah.
Okay. No, so with the debt, because I know one time, like, well, we talked months, maybe even a year.
There's more to that
about that. About the debt, you said the debt doesn't matter, which is, yeah, it doesn't matter because a bunch of money that's never going to be paid back. Now, what about the interest payments on said debt?
It doesn't fucking matter. That's kind of the thing, right? That's the thing that you got to keep your eyes on, because if we kind of fail the debt service test, then we're in trouble. But at the same time, as the world's reserve currency, we're able to just inflate. We're able to print money and inflate away as much as we want. It's just a broken system. It really is. The banking system is broke. All the banks are technically bankrupt. It's amazing to me because we just keep creating financial systems that are based off something that's not tangible, that's also based off of something that's not tangible, that's also based off of something that's not tangible, and it's just fiat on top of fiat on top of fiat.
So what you're saying is basically we're waiting for that run on the bank in 1929 type beat, but you know, a little different with more computers and gay shit, dead ass.
Well, I think the GameStop thing was a perfect example of where the system had to hit the brakes because you really threatened exposing some of these systems for what they are. And once you do that, it becomes a snowball effect, and you can't stop the boulder rolling down the hill.
Yeah, and now let's get into the meat
economy.
of GameStop stuff.
The economics.
So give us the whole rundown of the GameStop stuff and your opinions on it, like your thoughts on it. Oh, you know what? Give us your background real quick. You get too specific.
All right.
Yeah. I want to hear the actual occupation. I just sell cars. I'm a fucking asshole.
So I want to be vague about this. I've been in the financial world for almost 20 years now. And I've played a number of roles in that world. And I've worked for some of the biggest and baddest companies in the financial universe. And I've worked for some of the really awful ones, and I've worked for some of the really great ones, as in like bad actors. One of the firms that I worked at is probably one of the most fined firms in the industry. Another one is one of the largest and most popular. But I guess I need to level set here in that the GameStop situation was kind of unique. First of all, with the market capitalization of GameStop. So GameStop's a small cap stock. It's got a $5.8 billion valuation, And that means that inherently makes it more volatile because there's just less outstanding stock for GameStop. Okay. And you had these large hedge funds that had shorted GameStop stock, betting that that stock was going to go down because GameStop is really one of the last remaining brick and mortar shops selling
Do a
video
quick
games,
explanation of
consoles,
what
et cetera, et cetera,
shorting
et
a
cetera.
stock is.
Okay, so shorting a stock is like, okay, so a lot of people are saying, why does shorting exist? And when you're playing the stock market, you're betting, right? You're either betting that a stock's going to go up, or when you're shorting a stock, you're betting that it's going to go down. So what you're doing when you're shorting a stock is, most of the time, very simply put, you're borrowing a stock and selling it at, say, $100 a share, betting that it's going to go down to $75 a share. Okay. Now, when you do that, your risk is kind of infinite because the stock can just go up from $100, and then you're in real trouble because your risk is kind of uncapped. But if it goes down, you make the difference. So if I bet that the stock is, if I short it at $100, it goes down to 75, I make the $25. Okay, and so these hedge funds like Citadel, Melvin Capital. I think Melvin had 140% short. So this is kind of what I was talking about before, where there isn't, there's, it's not like they could sell 100%, 140% of GameStop's shares. That's not possible. They used a derivative. They used leverage to do that. So another kind of made up instrument in order to do that. It's a very risky trade, but they believed with trends in the market and less and less physical copies of things being sold, that GameStop would eventually go extinct. And they're kind of right, because GameStop is going to vanish at some point. They will more than likely eventually go out of business, and they were trending that way. So what happened was this Reddit group, and just stop me if I'm droning on for too long, but essentially this Wall Street Bets Reddit group, they got together and they said, look, you've got this new generation of game consoles coming out, and they have, not only is that hardware going to be sold at GameStop, but also the new Xbox and the new PlayStation have physical disk drives. So a company that sells physical discs still could technically be in business. And that was kind of the basis of their trade, was we're going to bet on this stock. We know that it's one of the most heavily shorted stocks out there, which means that if we get enough momentum and we get enough people to buy in, we will be able to significantly lift the price of that stock. And I think you also have to understand how Robinhood works. So Robinhood's a free trading service, which is what 90% of them were using. When you use a service that's free, you're the product. And so what Robinhood was doing was they were selling the trade data to high frequency traders like Citadel. So Citadel is their biggest client. Citadel also had one of the biggest shorts on GameStop. Okay. So when the high frequency traders saw this,
hey Jamie, can you pull up the CEO
that
of the Citadel
Wall
real quick?
Street Bets crew when they saw kind of the momentum that was happening, the high frequency traders picked it up, and that's really what drove the price of GameStop up to $340. It wasn't a bunch of schmucks on Reddit that did it. There was systemic and large firms that had the capital to buy into that stock as well. But there's a difference between when one big company buys 1 million shares and 100,000 people each collectively buy 1 million shares. There's a difference in how that trade data looks, and a difference in the type of momentum it creates. So they shot this thing to the moon, lost the hedge funds $20 billion or so, and the panic really started to fucking set in, man. It became a real disaster for the hedge funds.
I did not
real
know
quick
that about
question.
Robinhood.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it true that like some of these hedge funds like made like fake stocks to like inflate their own like worth, or not worth, but make more money out of it? Or is that like kind of conjecture?
Well, it's not. So, are you talking about like made fake GameStop stock?
Yeah, where they'd make extra like fake stock so they can get more money out of the short. Because I heard that
that's
somewhere.
kind
I don't know if
of.
that's true.
I think that's kind of just a simplistic understanding of leverage and how leverage works. So
well, I am clinically incompetent here.
no. You're look. You're without getting into it, right? Because it is the way that they make this stuff work is just by making it infinitely complex.
Yeah, I
And
sell cars. It's very easy there. This is a fucking pain to listen to. I love it.
Well, so what they essentially did was they created derivatives to lever up the short. So like I said before, they had 140% short on GameStop. So over 1.4 times the value of the company they had sold short, because so that way they would make a significant dollar, 1.4 times the money on the downside of that stock. It will melt my brain and everybody else's brain if I try to explain how that works, but it is a thing that you can do. You can buy ETFs that'll give you 3 times the movement in a category, in an index, in a stock as well. So these type of things exist, and this is part of what I'm talking about with the system that really is just one fake instrument on top of another fake system on top of another. It's just all imaginary.
All intentionally convoluted.
So is that a yes or a no?
Yes, it's a yes. It's more complicated than that, but yeah, that's kind of what they did.
To dumb it down for someone who talks in 0% MSRP.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I needed.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's also what got them in trouble, because I don't know what price they shorted it at, but it was probably $50 or below, and I can tell you that a lot of the hedge funds had to cover, which means they had to buy back the stock at $100 a share. So they took a massive loss.
So I remember they were saying like by Friday this day they're all going to get fucked over because of this.
Yeah, because they were going to get margin called. They were going to get called on that.
No one really posted anything more about GameStop by like that point, and I have no idea what happened. I just assumed they kind of were mostly fucked, but not as fucked as everyone was going to say, because they probably did some insider trading type beat shit.
No, they were pretty fucked, but I can tell you that more than likely they put those shorts back on at $350, because there's nowhere for that stock to go. All the people that thought that was going to go up to $800, it was already obscene at $350. That stock had never been above $50. And so, you're already way outside the realm. You guys have made a massive movement. And there were a lot of people that I've read about that bought in at over $300. You're fucking suicidal, man. That's not a good trade.
Did you hear about that kid?
That's not a good trade at all.
He didn't know what he was doing. You didn't know what he was doing on Robinhood, and he was trading like options. And it said like he owed like $200,000 or something on Robinhood, and he ended up killing himself because he couldn't get a hold of anybody. Oh yeah, but he needed to pay like $200,000 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was a glitch, and yeah. So it was a glitch, and it said that he was down $750K, and the kid killed himself.
And the next day, Robinhood emailed him, good news, your account's reinstated or whatever, the day after. And the kid had already done like a couple days trying to do it. He basically was like, I'm doing whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was fucked up. So let's.
This is the thing, man. These free trading apps. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
You're good. Keep going with the free trading apps. I'm a little delayed over here.
So I actually have one question on the matter. Something I.
Okay. So I'll make it very succinct. The free trading apps you want to avoid. They're selling your data. You are the product. You're infinitely transparent. You're completely naked to however many financial institutions out there. They all have your information. Stay away from them.
Word. So I guess one thing I did want to ask in regards to the whole thing is all of this stuff was put into motion, but I guess the question is, how did Wall Street Bets, or how did these people come into the information that the GameStop stock was so heavily shorted, because as far as I knew, that like that wasn't something that would just be like publicly available knowledge unless it was somebody involved in the shorting who let the information go out into the web in order to possibly fuck over these hedge funds and maybe make money somewhere else if everybody, like you said, dumped money into this stock and raised it up. Because I just don't understand,
So
I guess, where the information came from.
It's largely publicly available. So you can see trading volume on a stock, but you can also see short interest on a stock. So you can see when, there are institutions stacked up to short a certain stock. And when you have a small cap stock like GameStop that has a tremendous amount of short interest in it, you can make that stock move with the right amount of momentum, volume, trades. It's not hard to do. So that stuff is publicly available.
Okay.
So I guess
it's fascinating.
We'll end it from like, where does it go?
The other thing that I wanted to quickly.
Oh no, go do your quickly. Then go on afterwards.
Okay.
Like how much money you think these hedge funds made, and then we'll try to phase it out so you can get on to other things today.
Okay, so I would say this. I think that the one thing that everybody freaked out about was when Robinhood limited, and a bunch of different financial firms limited trading in the stock. And I could tell you that was probably 75% nefarious. But the thing that I would say is that their cover story, at least publicly and to the regulators, is going to shore them up, because what they're going to say is we had deposit requirements that we couldn't meet. So Jimmy, Jimmy $2 bought a bunch of shares of GameStop at $5. They went up to $3.50. If Jimmy $2 wants to cash out now, he's got a lot more money in his account than he did before. And you had a lot of these Wall Street Bets guys that now have an account worth $50 million. Robinhood has deposit requirements from the regulators that say you got to have X amount of dollars on hand to handle these trades now. And you had all these instant millionaires potentially. That's what they're going to fall back on. Where we go from here is nobody's going to get in trouble. Everything's going to go back to normal. A lot of the plebs were broken from this, and most of these day traders are going to be very disenchanted by this entire thing, and probably rightfully so. I hope that there is some collective way for people to do more of this, just because I think it's interesting, and I think people should be able to do that if it's not a pump and dump and it's not illegal and it's not based on bad information. But you saw what happened. I mean, they killed the Wall Street Bets Reddit. They tried to kill every single other way that these guys were gathering. The system hates this because it could really expose some fractures in it.
Yeah. Okay. I think
insider trading bad.
Yeah, insider trading is bad. Yeah. So anything else you guys got for Sky before we
insider trading is bad because politicians do it all the time.
Yeah, fucking politicians. Dude, that's the last thing I would say. Fucking Nancy Pelosi's husband buying Tesla stock the day before the executive order or whatever on electric cars. Jesus. Bitch.
Senators are allowed to do insider trading, which I think is just, that should be one of the first things that we outlaw.
Oh, what's funny is
they get this information.
The Congress people can't do it, but their family members can. So it's like, what the fuck? I think because they passed. No, there's legislation on the books that Congress people can't buy stock right before they're going to do anything legislatively, but your family member can. So if you pass on the information to your family member, then you got to prove it. Well, did they just do it of their own accord or whatever, or was it insider trading? Which is, when it comes to the politicians, no, it wasn't insider trading. But Martha Stewart, go cook a fucking cake in prison, you bitch. That's all I gotta say about it. So, all right.
So Twink stock. What's your idea? Thoughts on like a stock based on like?
Oh yeah, we'll finish it on Twink stock, and then
I'm bullish on Twink stock.
I couldn't have this episode be so heterosexual for so long.
Twinks are going way up. They're going way up.
Dude, money's gay.
Yeah,
this whole episode was gay.
High demand, not enough supply.
So this whole episode be having boys be kissing each other right on Wall Street. You know when Bane goes in there with his big milky tits when he fucking shoots Wall Street. There's an uncut scene where he just starts fucking blowing out the backs of people like a chiropractor, bro.
Yeah, Daddy likes that.
It's gonna be really upsetting for like all the.
This video is gonna be great. This video is gonna be great.
Don't worry, women. It's not funny talking about sex with women. I'm sorry. Oh yeah,
I'm excited.
I will make the point though that if you make those kind of jokes about women, it's not as funny. But you do it about twinks, it's always hilarious because they're twinks. It's a funny word.
We're gonna be
almost roll the back of a woman out. Oh, I'm a murderer. I'm like Tyga. Okay, well, I'm just gonna. I'll match it up with that. I'll find something funny to do with that. I don't know. Twinks are just easy to do.
Just buy twink options. Buy twink options. It's gonna go up.
That's called Grindr. So think on that. Grindr is the gay day trading stock app.
However, we just covered, since it's a free app, you're the product.
Yeah, you are the product, the twin product.
Damn, and I'm a pretty good product. I think our value is pretty high.
Yimra is the proto twink.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the proto.
He's an otter, actually,
but I'll take it.
So there's that.
Among other things, how you doing?
He's an otter.
So. Okay, define this for
this was peer-reviewed research.
An otter is this peer reviewed? Are we?
Is someone like a twink,
okay, so
but hairy?
What is an otter technically? Okay, well, he is Italian.
Yeah, there's no avoiding that part. I just don't like the term otter. It's so gross.
You gotta deal with it.
Why? Otters are adorable.
They're adorable, but
bro,
I got a 6-pack under here. I can't be called adorable. I gotta be called hot.
But is it a hairy 6-pack?
There's a treasure trail. I won't deny that.
But that treasure trail is probably thicker than the hair on my head.
Bro, you're in finance. What are you doing?
You could braid that shit into a Viking like ward.
Yeah, okay. It would look like Bjorn Ironside's ponytail.
You're thinking there's a lot more hair than there is on my tum tum. Okay, there's a decent amount. This isn't like going to the Brazilian rainforest right now.
Jeez. All right, that's a good spot.
I needed to end on something like that.
We'll end it right there. Sky, thanks for coming on, man. And we'll talk to you next time.